Welcome back, ladies and gents, as we start the NA side and NA portion of ECS. It will see Complexity up against TSM. Obviously, the underdogs. Complexity coming into this one. First off, it's going to be Nuke and then Dust 2, I believe, so it's a copy of the Envious matchup that we just saw prior, and hopefully it's going to be a bit more competitive than those two maps, because it was fairly one-sided.
Yeah, in terms of skill gap, it's kind of hard to say. I mean, obviously, both teams in the last match are better than either team here. But TSM have actually started to do a lot better as a team, as a lineup, have found their footing. I think it was Thorin mentioned that losing Automatic was one of the worst trades in like the history of the game, just because of how good he's gotten as of recently. But I know that Tim has said for himself that I wouldn't expect him to have gotten as good as he did on Cloud9 all of a sudden on TSM, because he felt he was pushed into more of a supportive role just because of the star players that are on TSM. So you got like Stick and Twist, and so they're expected to pick up so much of the slack. But I think on Cloud9 he's maybe has been given a role that he wouldn't have otherwise gotten on Cloud9 or on TSM, excuse me.
Plus, I guess it's the caliber of players that you're with that can really excel and propel you towards that top status. But it's going to be Relic that actually opens up the map of Nuke. Gets shut down in the back though. And FNS, in the meanwhile, is going to be putting down with the Glock. It's not looking great, is it? Complexity have already lost the bulk of their players, make it all of them, and TSM, with a rapid round, will claim the first on the T side.
Yeah, that was very quick, obviously. Just hitting shots right there. We have Relics coming out with the initial pick, and that can really just shake things up, causing all the rotations that you need them to, and has also elicited a force buy from Complexity. Surreal has hung on to a little bit of money, as he is typically the opper, the second of two British players that got picked up, Def being the first.
That's an interesting buy for TSM. 0 SMGs.
Very interesting, yes.
So
and
a
scout on T side as well.
That's not what you would often see, I think it's safe to say.
There's so little value in having a scout on T side anti-eco, because you're on cycle, you're doing too much damage sometimes. And but I maybe want to hang out here for a second, as Uber has the opportunity to get a couple of kills and looks for the second one, but cannot connect. 1 for 1, not so bad though. He'll take that.
Was trying to channel his inner Rush. That's where Rush got his 4 P250 frags yesterday. Unfortunately, CZ not quite up to the task, but one fun trade, all things considered. Complexity aren't down and out just yet. It's going to be hard for them to take re-control over this. FNS whipping out a couple of shots, but will finally take down Ape. And definitely, meanwhile, does come back with a kill into Desi. What is going on here? TSM are losing frags thick and fast, and now there is almost a cry for a re-rally and try and get back on this side again. Relics with the Galil will go into Surreal, but now it's all down to him in a 1-on-2. Fortunately for him, neither of these players has a kit, so it's going to be the full 10-second defuse. He's got the P250 out, but he's only on 9 health. So he has to play the time to perfection here. Depp is going to be holding on to the side, but actually gets the kill onto Relics. Is there enough time? It's going to be close, but I think he's got it.
That was an incredibly ugly round. I think there was a lot of missed shots, of weird opportunities from both sides, and it's really, I think it was a toss-up. You play that round out 10 times, it just goes 50-50, but I don't know. The rotate in, I guess, was really good. Def was able to find a good spot, stop the plant. No one to cover that bomb plant, though, was what was kind of questionable. And then, he's planning for an area that he doesn't even have a teammate in, right? He was planning for Heisenberg. What do you call that? The area decontamination or whatever.
Decon, yeah.
Decon.
Heisenberg, I love it. I love that call.
Yeah, but no one was there, so it's kind of weird to plan for it, I think.
Surreal is now going to try and put down the hammer with the M4. What is that fight? That is so scrappy. Both players whiffing so many shots, but Surreal finally will get bested courtesy of the P250. Sick is low outside, and he is going to be put down, leaving Relics once again in a clutch scenario. Will bag himself the first kill and the second one. This is plenty of economic damage actually being inflicted on the CTs, and he's still got 100% of his health left. So with the time where it stands, he could still even clutch this round, Wanders.
Yeah, I don't know if they know where the bomb is. That's going to be a key factor. I mean, they've dropped it outside, so they probably caught a glimpse of it at some point, but it seems like they're moving around quite a bit. And did Relics see him? I'm not sure he did. Ape is getting a little bit frisky and now has the information. Relics realizes, though, that is not his only opponent. And without armor, this is the tricky part. With armor, you can kind of take a fight, expect it to be fair, but at this point, I mean, that UMP is not a disadvantage. Relics has nothing to stave off this aim punch. It's actually kind of backpedaling right into Relics, however. Awkwardly enough, I don't know how this ends up being possible, but it's a 1v1, 20 seconds left, and Relics has an opportunity to plant on the upper site, is actually assuming that they have split up. Oh, and would be mistaken. Interesting. It could have gone the other way. I mean, it's obviously a gamble. Don't have no idea where Def is, so tries to make a read, which is what you kind of need to do, and was ready to try to plant for someone to rotate in from the vent.
But interestingly enough, even though they lose that round, Launders, they have a much better buy coming through into this round than their adversaries. Complexity have a couple UMPs, TSM full AK-47s, and 4 smokes. That's more than enough to make some kind of a set play outside, although they're not going to use it. They're going to go out raw, looking for these kills. Surreal with the spray with the UMP, Ape getting the assist, puts down FNS, and will be turning his attention to 6. So a pretty solid start for Surreal. He's still pretty healthy on top of everything else. TSM are getting battered and bruised. It's all on Relics again.
Gosh, aim seems to be a problem for both teams here. There's just so many shots are not connecting, and that's what makes it really difficult, because it's like, well, who took that fight first, and like how much time did he have to lock it up? I mean, Def seems to be struggling, but he's got the most kills so far in this game, and Complexity seal up another round. Outside gets dominated, and it's like Surreal is sitting there in mini with a UMP, gets a long-range spray onto somebody crossing secret who's not clearing him, and then not only that, gets the second player to drop down off of mini and no one to trade. So even gets away alive.
And TSM going out raw there without even using one of their 4 smokes. He's getting picked off in range, and you've got to feel like use that utility. Maybe you're saving it for a rainy day, but the rainy day never came. It wasn't required. Surreal, in the meanwhile, put down Semphis, and in doing so, TSM, once again, holding on.
Ooh.
Desi with a pretty tasty one-tap. Surreal goes looking one too many times. But they can't get their hands on that weapon just for now, so TSM still have a long way of trekking before they even get close to taking this round.
Yeah, that was definitely a tasty one, Deeg. And have they made any progress? It looks like outside, I mean, outside is clear. They don't actually know it, though. So that's a knife that can cut both ways. And Uber's kind of found an off angle to do a little bit of damage. Is managing to stay alive as well. And will Bish just be falling down into the lower side. The only reason he's not here in the first place is because he's also kind of responsible for ramp. And so is just calling for a rotate, which thins the CTs out a little bit. But once they know it's ramp, it's okay to fortify this area a little bit more.
TSM do have a little bit of real estate to play with. That's half the battle. But only 30 seconds left. They do have control of the bomb, but it's going to have to come down to this push right here, right now. And we'll see Uber picking up the first kill. Sick will answer back, however, with the P250. Picks up the AK-47, and that in itself could secure the bomb plant, which, all things considered, not a terrible round for TSM. It should now go the way of Complexity. Relics hiding in the shadows of the P250. I have to assume the bomb's planted for him, but as soon as that door opens, he's likely going to be a dead man, or if he peeks out of control.
No one's actually watching this quite yet, and oh, I mean, the bomb is planted in kind of a safe spot, so there is no reason for them to be totally worried about control. Ultimately, not ended up being a threat anyway, and that is a nice cleanup. Everybody getting a kill. Team Ace. It's a high five moment for Complexity, who also have a ton of money left over, so have done a great job surviving people. Is that a way to use that? That's keeping people alive. And obviously, crucially important that you pick up every CT round that you come across here, as they can come back to haunt you. Losing any round that you're not supposed to, or just even taking too much damage. So this is going to be a reset in my mind, as well, as we've seen a little bit of messiness mechanically from both teams, it seems. And was versus an outside take last time as well. So now just kind of an aggressive default. Relics, the men to pick up the op and look for the first opening kill. And we've got Def and Secret, which is one of the most common and powerful spots to play as a CT now, instead of just playing outside straight up. Molly, however, responds, and he comes up for the spray, actually gets the first kill, doesn't get the second, however.
I like that he went for it, though. I mean, it was pretty much heads you and tails I lose. At least he takes a player down with him. Because if he pulls back out a Secret, that gives complete outside control to TSM. Surreal, though, downstairs in the lockers is going to provide at least one up frag, down to 2 health, but Semphis unable to finish what he started. That Molly very well could do the rest of the work for him, and indeed it will. It just took the one tick. Surreal will burn to a crisp. 3 playing 3. Suddenly down into the tag team duos as FNS is all by his lonesome. 20 health And 42 seconds left, but the bomb dropped out in no man's land, so he's going to have to play pretty cheeky here. It's not looking good, though, for TSM once again. Missing ladder a little bit as well, so it's going to cost him a few seconds.
And is the bomb within this? That doesn't matter. Android finds a kill, and into heaven as FNS, excuse me, looks to try to just gather as much information as possible with the little bit of time that was remaining. 5-1 now for complexity here on CT side of Nuke, and it will be a buyout for both teams. Relics, however, at the very most has a Tech 9. Not a huge disadvantage, but last round we saw outside being taken and him also having an op here because maybe they don't have that gun, they won't want to. Unsure. It's not necessary, I should say, to have an op in this situation. Uber actually trying to find an off angle for a first kill. I always like these angles that you can just fall off of and then go into something a lot more passive, just to make sure that you don't get pre-fired. And also can catch someone shoulder peeking if it's a little bit deeper than what they're used to peeking.
It's very reminiscent of, that Dust 2 catwalk position where you can just drop down from the ops, where KennyS got his triple. Also, I'm thinking of BAPS on Mirage.
Yeah,
just go for the shot and drop down.
Exactly.
So I completely agree. It's kind of like a very ballsy position, but very easy to escape from. And just the one smoke, as we've seen now, being put down into the ramp side, pretty much stops this push dead in its tracks. Another one's going to be thrown out, so they're stalling the T's as much as they possibly can, but it seems that TSM are a bit too itchy on their trigger finger. They want to get out as soon as possible. Danzy's the only player, though, for the terrorists to chime in for a kill this round. Still 50 seconds left, so that could change. And Def now has the arduous task of trying to hold off Hell from both Desi and FNS. Sick is also joining the ranks.
This is quite an interesting angle. I think it might catch them off guard. I'm not sure. No, it looks like it's just ready for it immediately as he decided to drop out of heaven, and now Android is in a really tough spot. This is not a fun angle. I mean, he is really nuts, though. He could maybe put... No. Not going to get away with that kill. FNS is too slick right now with those entries. Smoke's going to come out into mini. It's not going to be an amazing smoke. That's actually Uber to be able to see in front of it, but no matter. Just not enough health, and just the op in the 1v3 is just way too much. Everything's counting against him here. And I liked Uber's play in the situation at ramp. It's just very flowchart. Take the shot, fall down, flash, get into lower, wait to see if they come lower, and then either rotate to a new position or wait there if they don't go lower. But I don't think his teammates meeting him halfway though. I also liked Ape there getting that kill in ramp, and then he ended up getting traded out. That's okay. I mean, you got two people in ramp, so he's made the right call. He knows that they're most likely going to go ramp, or will test it, which was smart. But still, TSM come out the victors off the back of really nice entries from FNS.
I feel like the key moment of that last round was Def's actually dying in Hell, because there's like 30 seconds left. Yeah. If he holds position or just the one kill, that could have been more than enough. Then Android could have potentially got a frag instead of being triple faced. Yeah, as soon as he dies, Heaven's open, so is ramp. So there's decisions to be made at that point.
That's what I mean. Like, if Uber is flowchart in the sense that like he's dropping, so he's giving up ramp, but that means that a Def is immediately alerted that okay, now they can come to me. So it just the responsibility is kind of split between them.
Speaking of Def, he's on point to maybe make amends for that previous misstep. The kill in the incendiary stops him from getting aggressed on just yet. But very similar to how we saw the ramp execute come in, TSM are just going to wait for the utility to subside and then go in afterwards. The thing is, though, down in secret, there are quite a few different positions that could be an issue on the stairs. Of course, with the addition of decon, there's also an extra staircase that you have to be very wary of when you come downstairs, and an extra room on top of that.
Just FNS being able to peek through the window and just know that all these rafters and areas are clear. Def found the one spot that no one was at, though, however. Gets a kill off of it, too. This would be the second, and then his third of the round, and is doing a great job holding lower at this point.
Is it going to be enough, though, for the rest of his team to come in and salvage this? It's looking likely. Just Relics. How many times is Relics in clutch scenarios? It feels like this is the 4th or 5th time already. Only 7 rounds through. 1 on 2 this time. It's one of the best opportunities he has. Typically, he's been in pistols, P250s.
That smoke. Oh, I guess maybe just try to bait out some kind of response, and he might actually do it. Oh.
Wrecked.
Back down the ladder with you.
Just disposed.
That's great. I mean, yeah, he didn't have a lot of time, and this was just great. This is flowchart from Def too, right? Going from secret into lower and just finding a good spot in lower, into dark. And FNS just like, I need to find a new angle. I don't like this fight at all. And Def like, nope, you're taking this fight right now. And getting his 3rd kill. So really, really good stuff.
3 Tech 9s alongside the AK-47s. TSM could be setting up for a more aggressive round this time.
This is actually, where is Twist? I just realized that he's not in this. It took me a couple of rounds. Ooh, nice spray from Uber. And he's fallen back now, but because he's gotten 2 kills, I think he just feels confident in his ability to stay here. Maybe the fact that they're probably going to fall off, and he'd be right about that. Really difficult to have to reset when you like give up 2 players and then don't have any map control to speak of. You're basically starting the round over, but just with less players.
So 3 Tech 9s just became 1 alongside the 1 AK-47 of FNS, who is pushing outside. But the 2 terrorists are somewhat isolated from one another. FNS taking point, teammate just behind him of Sick. They do have a bit of utility to play with too. But Sick has been spotted, his position now compromised. Double stack on Garage is more than enough to deal with the push outside, and Complexity take a 7-2 lead. But we have already seen tonight that the CT side can be pretty one-sided at times.
Yeah, definitely can. This is just Uber with the rifle, holding it down. A couple of good kills, and then, again, once again, falling off. Always good about not playing greedy, and that's definitely a good sign. Back to the drawing board for TSM. 1 smoke in the hands of FNS. What is the plan?
It's hard to say, really. I mean, it looks like it's going to be a smoke onto red container side, and then some kind of a push, maybe down secret. Try and get up in the face of Complexity, see if they can get a bomb plant. But that is all their utility that's been expended in the smoke. Not quite deep enough. It still shows a whole bunch of outside, and Surreal is going to dispatch of Desi. Bomb gets dropped out. Molly will actually stop Relics from taking that bomb downstairs, and once again, he's in the clutch. This time it's a 1-on-5. We'll execute Surreal first off, but there is the return kill. TSM will have a buy into the next round. At what kind of point here as well, I wonder, do the TSM maybe think about calling a pause? Because a lot of these rounds have been incredibly one-sided.
Yeah, incredibly one-sided, and I just don't know. They don't seem to have much fire right now. The outside smoke, for example. I guess if you look at the money right now, they didn't have an extra $300, which was the question I was going to ask first. Like, do they have enough? Do they have just like $300 between all of them to go for that extra smoke so they can cross safely? But it looks like they didn't, and maybe we can call that a write-off. So, you know, they're running out of chances here. They've gotten 2 rounds. It's a better start than we saw from Astralis versus Envy, but still not remarkable by any means. And we still got a bunch of smokes in the hands of the terrorists. Will they be released? It looks like this outside pressure, good damage done by Surreal. Unfortunately, doesn't get a kill off of it, and we'll fall back to a new angle.
TSM utilizing more of those smokes outside, and as a result, they will be rewarded with somewhat Garage control. The problem is, though, from Garage, it is still very susceptible to being AWP from the likes of Heaven, which is exactly what Surreal is doing right now, in the watchtower, so to speak. FNS is already low. And I like that TSM were trying to utilize more grenades, but the problem is that they just didn't get down secret. So they're basically out in the open against Memphis. He's going to get a cheeky frag onto Surreal, but now his position is no one gets a second. I'm very surprised he got away with that.
I mean, yeah, just leaving, like Abe just leaving himself open to the exact same spot. I mean, not anticipating that he'd come back for more, I suppose, but would he be sorely mistaken about that? And now Def is kind of in a tough spot where he's got 2 jobs instead of 1. Gets the first spray, damage done to the second, who's looking to trade, and that's it. Complexity take it away after a couple of nice kills from Semphis. Really awkward, strange rounds. This is a default that we just saw, and it kind of the kills that came about weren't a result of tactics, right? They were just a couple of good op kills here from Surreal, locking it down, trades back and forth. There was 2 from Ape and then 2 from Def right there. But a lot of it is just aim-heavy situations, very light on the utility, and just trying to get some map control and then split up that default, try to get kills.
Trying to hold this down by himself, but Def is going to lend a helping hand. Relics with the deagle. try and get himself a second kill. TSM going for more of an aggressive play onto A, but Complexity were a couple steps ahead. As you say, it hasn't necessarily been the most strategical map of Counter-Strike for either team. It's just a lot of the duels have gone the way of Complexity. Depson 14 for 4, Android 14 for 6. I mean, these guys have just been completely repelling everything that TSM have to offer.
Yeah. A lot of unanswered trades, solid performance, and I have to, you have to wonder, well, does that mean that on the other side, the other half, are Complexity going to suffer the same problems? I have no idea. I fear for it, but I have no idea. There's 3 people making presence at ramp, one just boosting somebody else up and then leaving. I have to assume it's Uber. He's the man up there. Oh, is he going to shoot? He's not being cleared.
I wasn't sure if he was going to decide to wait for more players to show up or go for the shot. I mean, maybe indecision. I'm not entirely sure what was going through his mind though.
Honestly, I wouldn't have hated if he just let them kind of pour in more, because he didn't line up a second target right before he took that first kill. That's just surreal. To spot the bomb, take him down, and just off this crack peek, really safe angle to look for a frag if it's handed to him. If not, he knows that he can play man advantage.
Yeah, it's one of those kind of positions where you're fairly safe spotting if a player jumps down into ramp, but the smoke is going to pretty much take that information away from him. His scouting potential limited. FNS, in the meanwhile, was originally shaping towards ramp, but decides better of it. Relics already peering out on Mini. Very slow round, but there's not much time left for TSM. They've got to completely commit to a site here. They can't afford to be messing around for any longer, and in doing so, they're not going to be able to check all the angles. This is where Android's position could honestly be so clutch. It's not a place you're going to be looking as soon as you come out. 15 seconds now. FNS does peak his position, but there's only 10 seconds left, and with Surreal up in heaven, the bomb is going to get planted, but it's more about the revenge frags afterwards that are going to be the issue for TSM to contend with, and Surreal comes in for his 3rd kill of the round. Complexity will take an 11th.
Definitely 2 guns, 3 kills. Very nice, very well played from Surreal. I mean, you could tell he was just so hungry. He wanted to just run out and go for that first frag initially. Probably would have got away with it too. I'm surprised they had no idea about who was above them. I imagine the comms were pretty obstreperous in the moment, because he had just, like, after waiting, didn't just walk across. He ran across, and no one was even looking up to see if they could go for the trade out or not. But when all is said and done, when all is done and dusted, TSM 2 rounds in this game. It's a very, 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 very big hill to climb. Yeah, from here on out, Relics is going to have another opportunity with his op. Surreal will be the man to take the fight, and very quick shot. A nice flick upward into the body of Skylar, who's definitely holding that angle.
Reminiscent of Kenny S's flick shots that we saw earlier on Nuke as well. Bomb out and outside. Sick. Could very well be the next player to fall if that just goes down the corner. Oh, that's the headshot, the flicks. We're talking about the orbs, but the AK's on point 2 in depth. 3 in the round. Must be pretty close to his 20 at this point. He's on 17. That's unreal.
That shot was big money. I mean, you think Sick has him dead to rights. He's given up his shadow, and as soon as he's alerted, he's just peeking back and forth. Sick starts shooting first, and what is that? Madness. Madness. And it seemed like there was some mechanical failures on both sides, both teams, in the beginning of the half, and now Complexity have definitely started to pick it up a little bit. The rust is off, it seems. And I like these using the mollies early on. Just stop the initial pushes. TSM or any team would be ready to throw a Hail Mary in this situation. So, oh my gosh, Ape just
it's raining apes.
It's raining apes.
Too easy.
Ooh, does Def actually get pre-fired? No, it looks like not. And Relic's just going to run through, just trying to find an awkward timing. It's not going to be good enough. And Def another 3K, a multi-frag for him. Warranted or not, I'm not sure.
Desi has nothing to play with in the Galil either. Can't pop flash, can't smoke, can't do anything. He's hoping more than anything else that the CTs just move out of position, but there's Def for a 4th kill. UKCS, boys.
UKCS
coming back.
UK's back, yes.
21 kills in the first half, and incredibly one-sided.
My gosh. I mean, this is... It is when we look at the sequence and just how segmented it is, his ability to get 1 kill, then 2 kills, then 3 kills, when I mean, if 3 guys run out of smoke and hut, he probably can spray them all down but he's got a much better chance to get all of the kills if they do that, at the very least.
What's impressive about Depth, though, is he's got 21 kills, which in itself is solid, but only 4 deaths.
Yeah, that is nuts. That is nuts.
That's godlike statistics. Second pistol. TSM desperate to pick this one up. And even if they do, they want to make sure they don't do an Astralis and lose instantly afterwards. But 13-2 may be asking a bit too much. They have picked up the first kill, and 6 in prime position to maybe land a couple of one-taps, but Ape and Surreal will come back. Surreal with their second kill for the Terrace in this round. We'll switch across to the USP.
Ooh.
Looking pretty good for TSM. Nice shot by Semphis, and that will leave Uber in a 1-on-3. Does have control of the bomb.
Yeah, it looks like they're going to get 52, and just as he turns, he gets timing striked. Yeah, and Uber gets eliminated from the server. TSM pick up a round, which might be a saving grace. This is a very, very similar. This is a callback to the last map we just witnessed, and even more so if Complexity somehow convert this round, and you know that they are going to buy something. Oh, actually, they're not buying all that much. They are definitely. It looks like just a Deagle, Tech 9, no armor. Oh, armor on a couple of people, but not spending down to 0, hedging their bets. I really like this. Just do some damage. And TSM have also picked up. I guess Complexity did win the first. Yeah, Complexity won the first pistol round and then bought no SMGs. That was the call.
Yeah, it was 4 assault rifles and a scout. Was their first buy, which is pretty odd. It did make it work though. I think, honestly, for the Complexity here, it's maybe a case of, look, we got a massive lead, there's no rush. We don't have to worry too much about getting rounds right now.
Yeah, I like it.
We can wait until we have a solid buy, an AWP if they so choose. Surreal can use that for himself. But the first kill has gone the way of TSM, although Semphis is down to just 4 health, so any of these pistols would finish him off abruptly. Double stack and ramp. Complexity playing this one slow and steady. Other than Android, look at where he's managed to make a move. If he gets himself into ramp.
Yeah, he should. I mean, no one is going to be watching this, right? Oh, wow.
He's seen FNF.
Just into the corner of his screen. Oh, my gosh. Honestly, not an easy shot to hit, but he was put in a position that he had to fire, and somebody has just circumvented him at ramp. That's FNS. Somehow, from that position, able to shoot him in the side of the head. I wouldn't expect to see that duel, and there it is. Falling right to his fate.
I mean, to be fair, that goes back to something we were talking about yesterday with the Deagle. Sometimes it feels like you either hit a headshot or you just don't get the kill. Like,
yeah, it's 100 or 0. 100 damage or 0.
Kind of unfortunate then, but that is just the Deagle life. Complexity, they'll be tapping out of this round as well. They did have Uber that I think got Tech 9 and Kevlar, so he's down to 1900. So kind of a mix-up of economy for Complexity.
Yeah, he won't be able to have full nades next round, which is maybe not that great. Also didn't have. I think if he got a kill, he would have made a little bit of money back, but not the worst position to be in. Oh, this spot's so useful, but actually Desi, after peeking a little bit, gets full flashed and still manages to stay alive, however, and also will be able to shoot fish in a barrel in one of the most awkward angles possible. Still managed to get all 3.
And that underarm nade was like a nuke going off in the face of in the face of Complexity. Yeah. Pardon me. Yeah, I think it landed on 3 players, like on their heads as well. It did like 80 damage to somebody.
Yeah, it's beautiful. Really good idea. I mean, right after you have that flash pop, you have to assume there's just not that much utility to go around on this round, where you know it's the 3rd round after they've decided whether or not they're going to force up, and then expecting a play is going to come with this flash.
But as a result of Complexity's patience, they are going to have indeed the AWP on Surreal, who's up on the silo. Where is the AWP for TSM? Okay, so FNS has got it in ramp. So Surreal is going to have, by and large, the run of outside for the time being.
Quite curious how aggressive Relics gets. That's what I want to know. Like, this fight between Surreal and Relic seems like it might be the first thing to happen, and there it is. He actually does walk all the way up and gets taken down. The default, the very passive default, pays off in dividends for Complexity. Let's take this round now slowly. Let's see if they do something aggressive, is the call, and it ends up happening. But now we have the people in positions, wow, that might not be able to trade. And it was up to TSM to look for a duel if they could find it, but Complexity was ready and aware.
Oh, Desi a bit premature. He's still going to get his man, but now there's 2 terrorists. Make that 3 that are moving into position. It will be Uber that finishes him off, and now it's on FNS. Can he get any frags? There's the first one. Able to retain all of his health as well in the process until a grenade lands by his feet, but he's okay. 30 seconds left. Bomb is going to get planted. And our Semphis on the rotation could be the key man. Goes for the spray. Oh, Ape is still alive. That grenade could claim his life, though. It's going to land by his feet. I think he may have got stuck across the wall as well on the retreat. He was in panic mode.
Oh, what happens?
Oh
my god.
Surreal was trying to channel his inner Hodor there, but unfortunately, it's not going to happen.
Oh my god. Yeah, just closes the door. I mean, the funniest part would be when the door closes, but then there's just a giant hole in it. So you
can close the door, mate. You can still clearly see your face, though.
That's great. Oh, man. That's beautiful. And yeah, it looked like it was about to get awkward here. Opening kill, going to complex. Actually, first 2 kills is 3v5 that they got. 2v4 in this situation, which is even more of a highlight reel. And yes, right in the doorway, like, I need to escape. And...
Oh, man. It was unfortunate there, Surreal. Just, there's not much else you could hope for, really. But that does mean that TSM draw 1 round closer, and then Semphis just gets caught in the middle of outside.
Yeah, just kind of running just across. It seemed like he was like, all right, I'm going to do this now. And it was something he could have done in the beginning of the round with the cover of a flash and a smoke, but said, I'm going to take this risk, do it late for some reason. I'm not sure why. Maybe there wasn't anybody to rotate through secret, and was like, I'm going to take the small risk. I don't think anyone will catch me crossing, and just pays for it. And then, you know, and then looks kind of ridiculous, I guess.
I wonder if maybe he assumed that Complexity wanted some kind of a half-buyer and eco. Because they had AKs and not many nades, but even then, if they have a deagle, having been on the silo in the previous round, surely that moves you into position to get 1 deagle.
And also, like, how critical is it for you to get in this position if you're going up against people who don't even have, like, great guns? A nice trigger control there from FNS, not spraying right away, and coming away with a headshot. And Android, oh, he actually heard that. Yeah, he knows that there's somebody else. But, oh, Desi finds a really cool spot in the corner and avoids the pre-fire.
TSM, okay. They're clawing their way back. That's 5 consecutive rounds now.
Yeah, and this is the 2 rounds in a row that Complexity got the opening kill. And this is a stark difference from a really, a playoff-bound invite team and a non-play, and just like every other level team in general. It's that you get that opening kill and you're not converting them, then you don't know how to play your man advantage. And it's just 2 rounds in a row in a situation. If you look at the stats for like most high-level teams, they're converting up to 80% of these rounds from getting the first kill. So I mean, they just lost a 2v4 and then another round after getting a kill without losing any health. So I mean, eventually they're going to run out of opportunities that TSM are just going to carelessly walk out into the open outside and get opt. That's not going to happen every time. And then what? And then what do you do?
Well, it seems like Complexity are going for the outside aggression again. They've really enjoyed using this so far, but it hasn't yielded any rounds, although they've came close a number of times. Relics has been spotted. The scout comes out and Relics loses his head.
That was nice. Very
nice indeed, but Relics didn't seem to really react to that a great deal. I mean, the scout does have great movement speed, to be fair.
He was probably just like, okay, I'm probably going to be able to get a shot in it. He's going to miss or only hit my body or something. But he did a really good job lining up that angle.
So he could be in the money with the frags. There's the first one. Ooh. Oh, again, Depp this time connects the headshot onto Sick and nearly lands the no-scope as well onto Semphis, who will fall prey to Android's deagle. Ape has Desi in his sights. Desi's going to drop down. There's going to be some damage towards FNS, and now Desi's in a one-on-one against Ape. A deagle facing off against an AK. 30 seconds left. The bomb's going to bank off the wall, but Ape's already made a move. Has the A4 now. The bomb's out on the site, and Desi has eyes on it too, so Ape is going to have to come back onto the site and pick that up for himself. So Desi's in such a good position here, and shouldn't whiff, and he won't. TSM win another.
And get a kill for himself for free. I mean, it does make sense. Android's a very, very good player, so you can see the value in that, and it was kind of up to CSM to try to hold ramp better.
Nice kill for Semphis, and I think what the determining factor there is, at first glance, I thought Sick had just absolutely whiffed the opportunity. He actually threw the smoke the second Android peeked and got the first frag. That's so unfortunate. So he's actually sort of like switching weapons when, when Android peeked.
Right, so there's a little bit just unlucky timing.
Yeah, but it's still, you take nothing away from Android, still getting those kills is very impressive. But kind of unfortunate by TSM. That being said, they're looking to try and bounce back here. It's a full-on buy. doesn't yield the greatest of buys, but they have got the opening 2 picks. That alleviates plenty of the pressure.
Yeah, it does alleviate quite a bit of pressure. I think the issue, though, is that because, again, they relied on their default to get them these kills last time. Here's the man of the hour, Android, walking in hut, and it seems like they're just
Dig did have an opportunity. Doesn't think it's going to pay off for him just yet. And he will go down to the hands of Semphis. It seems to me that Complexity are very much split apart now. I mean, they're not really moving as a cohesive unit any sort of rounds. They're getting through onto A, but as you can see, Semphis is just putting down the work.
honestly, I don't think they've been a cohesive unit. Like, I mean, they've been very rarely this half. I can't even think of a round where they grouped up to do something. They've just always split up, and I think it's because TSM aren't so aggressive with their grenade. I mean, they're not doing anything super tactical themselves, so I feel like Complexity feel like there's a lot of opportunities for 1v1s, which should mean that terrorists can get that advantage. But even when they have gotten the advantage, haven't been able to convert, and so their problems are quite deep at the moment. Here, just a 2-round differential. TSM on the comeback after an abysmal half. CT side are able to use their individual talent, and if if it does come down to an individual effort from both sides on both halves, the CTs will always be the victors. Much easier, much more comfortable, especially on Nuke.
So the second half so far is 10-1 in favor of TSM. Still behind. Complexity could still outright win this. But with every kill that goes the way of TSM, that becomes less and less likely. Semphis is going to move on to the mid-20s now with a couple of frags. Sick in the meanwhile from control. He's going to get the crossfire down, and Sick with a second, looking for a third one. The spray is really poor from both players, but Ape, only on 10 health, will be able to scamper away for a few more seconds, but it's borrowed time, just delaying the inevitable.
Oh, yeah, I mean, he has got no way he wins this. There's just too much health remaining. He's been spotted now. That was kind of his one golden opportunity, I think, to make something happen. And here he just has to try to be pretty quiet, or simply die before time runs out. Not knowing where anybody is, but what just happened? They were able to get into ramp, and 3 of them going down lower. 2 people die to control room without anybody even looking at it, and you have to wonder how that happens. They were throwing nades, and I think they were so obsessed with their nades that even when they were in the site, they were still not done yet, and that ended up costing them 2 kills, no trade. Travesty.
I wonder how tilted Complexity are at this point after having such a huge margin of error.
I know they've done this so many times though, and that's why they didn't. And that's why they didn't force up on that second round after the pistol. They're just like, we have done this way too many times. We have to just make sure we win on the save up, get the rifle round as early as possible, and try to seal it up. But literally, the only round they've won is a fortunate double entry from Android on a default. And oh, that is so, I feel like, unlucky. Sick just basically hit his first bullet. Death was about to
down to 4
put him in stitches. Well. Yeah. What an insane shot, though.
Yeah, just spinning around. You could see from his perspective, I think he was looking towards the A side through hut there. Just spins around, lands the frag, and there's Relics at the back of the site.
Ooh, nice.
2 tasty AWP shots. Cuts Complexity down to size. They're trying to move the bomb on to A, but Semphis is going to bag himself 2 more kills, and he now moves on to 29. So before, Depth was on 27, Semphis was on 22. And now he's taken the lead by 2 frags. It goes to show how dominant he's been in these last few rounds.
This is a total not like this moment for Complexity. Oh, they're just in the NSW mode. Face and Palm, and yeah, our observer just pointing out that one round in an island. I mean, in reality, we look at these halves and we just think, wow, TSM played awfully for the first half, and then Complexity just played awfully in response. But because TSM are so close to winning now, they've got the gun advantage here, and probably are running off momentum and confidence. You have to say that they have a better chance of just closing this out right here and now. Round 29, and we do have a fair bit of utility for Complexity to work with. I don't know how they're going to use these smokes. It looks like they've left the hands of some of these players already. Outside seems to be the movement. Calculatedly placed smokes. No kills have come out quite yet. Def, the top fragger, only on a Tech 9. You have to wonder why. And Sick in a good position to multi-kill here.
Too many angles though as he came up. He did get the kill into Ape. But for Terrorists, that 1-for-1 trade is certainly worthwhile. It gives them an extra weapon to play with, though Depth hasn't got his hands on it just yet. Interestingly, he's going to stick with the Tech 9 and just push outside. Again, though, it's a case of a split pick by Complexity. This is one of the best chances they've had, all things considered, considering where Depth currently is. And he's going to land the headshot and finish it off. Desi will go down. Next player up could very well be FNS, who's in ramp just behind Depth, but meanwhile Surreal is making moves into vents. Surely TSM aren't going to lose out after this glorious comeback. FNS in a 1-on-4 is going to pick up the first kill, but no more. And Complexity now, out of nowhere it would seem, have themselves a map point.
Wow, they actually they seal it up. They do something aggressive out of spawn. They go for that outside control. There seems to be someone in secret to challenge them. They get that kill immediately, and look at Porcempus, 29 kills. And just so far and away, having more impact, it seems, than the rest of his team. But after all of that, Complexity actually take... This is going to overtime, isn't it? This is almost certainly going to overtime.
Well, Complexity have not strung 2 rounds together on their T side so far.
Yeah, and I think the formula holds true at this point. You know, 2 rounds out of 10, basically. And we saw the last one. We saw the last one happen in the middle of all that. But I wonder, is this a point? Is this the moment where you do what works? I would say almost certainly yes. Do what you know, because nothing else you've done has even come close, really. And it seems as they're going to go lower, and I guess try to obtain that after plant situation. Smokes cascading over outside. Vision obscured from Big Garage. No way to spot this. They can hear what's happening, but can they respond? Oh,
Surreal.
Running
what an entry
through the
that
flames.
Is.
Oh my gosh.
Nice.
Sempis, however, on the fast one.
So huge, but Depth has the back of his teammates. Good guy Depth, and now the 2 top fraggers for Complexity stand up when it counts. TSM on the brink of a heartbreak. They battled back from a horrendous first half 13-2 scoreline to nearly outright winning Nuke, but now with 33 seconds left, Relics, Desi, and FNS have to pull off a miracle.
The only thing that could ruin this is if they do not trade kills and make moves individually. This would be the last. I mean, this would be the most tragic. Oh my gosh, what is Smalley? What is happening? The bomb is being planted though, and that is the key factor. 2 people are too afraid to drop down the vents quite yet. That is also nice. And good after plant spots are being taken.
Android on the decon stairs. Surely he's going to be good for at least 1 kill. Goes out for the pop flash. There's a double stack on the door staircase, and it's not required. Ape will outright land that headshot. Looking for the pop flash. FNS and Desi trying desperately to get this one done. The first kill is going to come down. Again, it's the 2-on-2. Ape on 3 health is going to fall, and it's all down to Depth. He's been the top fragger. He's been the star so far of Complexity, but he's unable to get it done. Is there enough time? It's going to be incredibly close. Desi's battling against time itself, but he just about has it, so we're going to overtime. And I thought for the life of me that Depth had that one under control.
He just had to hide after the first kill and would have 100% won that round. And got locked into this crush break. Oh my gosh. After that after plant, we had a man advantage. We had great after plant spots and a couple of good trades from TSM to find the kills they did. But here, Def just did not need to put any more bullets into the side. He just had to get behind that wall as soon as possible. I mean, he really didn't even need the... well, he probably need to stop them from trying to stick the bomb in the first place, because they definitely wouldn't have gotten off. But, wow. And OT, it's true. OT happens. OT does happen.
So what we can say here safely, considering that both well, collectively, T-side yielded 4 rounds in total. Or was it 5?
Yeah,
No,
13-2 halves, yeah.
Yeah, so 4 rounds in total. So any T rounds here are worth an insane amount. So both Complexity and TSM are going to be jockeying for position. Surreal, we've seen this set play before. This is what Complexity went for in the last round, which saw Surreal land a crazy entry frag on the move through Molotov.
And again, doing what works. I think Uber just opened the door a little bit too early last round. Didn't actually wait for any sound cue. And TSM here we have an adjustment, but Sick is playing very passively up in the corner of control. I mean, Complexity have to know that there's no way the site is abandoned. And the head of a player is spotted. Will he find a second one? He's looking for this fight. Ape is being a little bit shy in this opportunity and actually goes down as well, leaving him alive with knowledge of the bomb. That pushes up for the trade. Necessary to happen, but now Surreal left in a 1v3.
Only 25 seconds as well on the clock. Gonna take a pretty special play or a huge throw by TSM for him to get anything done. And they're playing it smart. They're just holding passive angles. They knew he had to rush out for the bomb. And in doing so, he played himself out the round. But Complexity did have a couple of moments there, glimmers of hope down in secret, where they got a couple of frags going their way. Unfortunately, though, Sick was too solid in control to take 2 players down and drop the bomb out in a horrible place.
Yeah, and I mean, I think it was a really good spot from him just to play that differently than how they've been doing it. Just trying to push up aggressively. The secret wasn't working. They had lost a couple of rounds because of it, so I quite like him just going right to control. It's not something you would expect for someone to make an adjustment like that, but now Complexity have to wonder what do we do, because now we didn't even get the bomb down. We didn't win, which is something that we've been kind of used to doing in the couple of rounds that we won on T side. They have literally no other strategies that have any merit. Nothing else has worked.
So this time they're not going to go for the quicker outside take. Instead, it's going to be more slow and steady. Dep's going to be throwing down the molly. No one's home in secret just yet.
You know, I think you always will feel like, okay, why don't we just do it again if they're just going to give us outside control? Oh, but there it is. Relic's getting aggressive into Hut and finding another kill. No, traded out by Uber. Very good 1-for-1, something we haven't seen that often in this game. Dizzy on the top of the Hut gets a kill on Uber. Uber just running into upstairs. There was 2 people there. There wasn't even just 1. But instead of taking that 4v4 and then looking for more information, decided, why don't I just try to be a hero? I think, I mean, it seems like they haven't had a plan no matter what, but... And Def. Opposite vent gets the kill. Desi, however, is another man upstairs.
Ooh, did land that shot.
Wow, looking gearing up for the wall bang as well.
Yeah, was up to the task. I completely agree. It was a head-scratching moment. Uber just running out by himself, like 4-on-4. The positions were pretty solid, and he just goes off by himself. Surreal then gets picked off by himself as well, and it's like, Complexity, where's the cohesion? Like, what's going on here?
Yeah,
Is there shot calling, or what's happening?
Yeah, I mean, I hate to put it this bluntly, but it's like, what do they do in? I mean, I hate to say it like this, but like, what do they do in practice? You know, if they're how come their playbook isn't deeper than that? And I mean, every team has been here where you just get defeated so many times that you don't have anything that works. That's fine, but they are just, I mean, it's become so individualistic, you know, at a certain point.
They've gone for that pop flash. He's going to force the CT away, gives Complexity a little bit more control outside. It's what they do with it that really counts, though, because they've been outside so many times, down secret, into main. Done not a great deal with it. This time Depth is going to make a move on Heaven. We haven't seen him do this a great deal, but FNS is clearly reading the situation to perfection. He's currently aiming outside, so Depth probably not long for this world. His shoulder's been spotted, the headshot, and then the body shot to finish things off. FNS will claim the first kill as TSM look to go flawless in overtime.
Yeah, and history will tell us this is not the most fun side to say I play. I'd say there it is. Nice kill from Surreal. Will they worry about both vents like they did last round, or failed to do last round, I should say? Oh, the Uber finding a kill upstairs. Another one on Desi in the opposite vent, and now they have the opportunity to win. Might go 2-for-1. This is a really great ratio. if we consider how many rounds have gone the way of the CTs in the in regulation.
Definitely. Relics is still alive and kicking. Not for too much longer as Galil in the hands of Android puts him down. 30 kill for Semphis, 32 for Depth, and 26 for Surreal. So that one round that Complexity took on their T side could prove to be so vitally important. It's more pressure on TSM. They have to get one back for themselves.
I guess the one thing that I will say is that, you know, Nuke, you know, it's like most people don't want to play. But if you really didn't want to play, you should have got rid of it. If you really cannot. And now, fortunately, I mean, it's always hard when you come off that really bad T side to have to go into OT and play it first. You really do want to reset from it. You don't want to have to go into T rounds once again. But they managed to get a round off of it, which is really nice, and should be worrying for TSM, who again failed to get anything going on their T side as well. Molly falls a little bit short into Secret. They have to burn another one for it. And we've got a player aggressing to make sure that control isn't just given up for free. That's Depth. He's been very good at this.
Yeah, he did this consistently in regulation as well, so it does surprise me a little bit that TSM...
Yeah, just not prepared for it at all.
Absolutely. I mean, it was quite a while ago, but still, you just seem there'd be some kind of a call going on there. USP close range is a good dispatch of Semphis, and their Ape comes to the rescue of Surreal. Misses out on the flick on FNS, but to be honest, it's a 5-on-2. So it's doubtful that miss is going to yield too much results for the terrorists. 6 down to 4. FNS is going to pull one back, so I could be made to eat my words there. TSM still in this round now, but they're both solo. 10 HP between the two of them. That's probably this round done and dusted now.
Yeah, there's very little hope here. Sick with the bomb, low HP, an op, and a Molotov. Oh, and a Dream. It's gonna no reason to save in this situation. We'll see what the play he can make is, and the problem with Nuke again is for him that the rotation is super quick. Vent drop can be really fast. No one's actually in position, it seems, to go down super quickly, and so he will be offered this plant. I mean, all they have to do now is trade. FNS, I think, at the very maximum should be able to get 1 kill. But oh my gosh, misses that shot, and oh, misses it. Okay. There was a chance there where he gets the first kill, and then it's a 1v1. You're reset, but yes, gotta hit the first shot.
Pretty rough to watch, I guess, but still asking a lot from 17 apiece now. Complexity just about darting past that round, but it should be mentioned that TSM even taking a bomb plant and taking down 3 players is kind of surprising because Complexity. I mean, they bossed that round from the start. As soon as Def gets that frag, they get the next one outside. You're thinking, all right, this is going to be a complete collapse. But TSM held on for dear life.
Yeah, they definitely did. That's true. And it couldn't have come at a more critical moment. Again, both teams reaching for, trying to achieve that 19 score mark. That will mark the end of the game. And that means winning both of the 2 remaining overtime rounds here on Nuke.
So ramp-centric aggression by TSM. Looks like it could be a fake, though. It's going to keep both Uber and his teammate of Ape interested for now. Def in the meanwhile, alongside Android, playing fairly passive angles. Android is watching for the push at this point. Sick going to be pushing out first. Semphis taking the lead, and Android will get the first kill. Def comes out and will cost him his life. Android still on the site, will fall down next, and TSM looking good for maybe a T round after all. Desi and Relics are both incredibly low, however.
Great, good flash. The smoke out as well. Oh, Relics going down, though, in the upper site. Means it's a 3v3 now. What's going to happen? Molotov and a bit of utility. Wasted, it seems.
Extinguished, yeah. FNS throws one out. Outside, main side.
Where is he going?
Oh, that's such an important spray that goes the way of the terrorists, and they just got a whole lot better. Surreal now in a 1-on-3. They're both incredibly low, and it looks like he may very well try for the defuse in the smoke as he drops down. Is either of these TSM players going to spray? Yes, they are. FNS is up to the task, and 18-7, 17, I should say, is where we go. Complexity, how's your economy looking? This is where losing 3 players in that previous round stings them a little bit.
Yeah, definitely. It seems like they're going to be able to, I mean, op if they want to? I don't know. Good positional play from Semphis. I think he called out the fact that they've been playing both vents in that round, and it's just a solid adjustment. And yeah, it's a little to no hope that they was actually going to win that round in the smoke. And well, there is an adjustment. There is a big adjustment in auto sniper. I think the ramp holds have been relatively decent in general, but now you're not getting in ramp.
No.
Now you are not allowed.
Not without some costs to your health, at least. And I doubt, honestly, as soon as they hear that auto sniper ring out, it's just, okay, boys, let's not bother around. Let's go elsewhere. It does mean, though, judging from the economic situation, they must realize if they hear the auto snipe, one of these players has low nades. So it could be a little bit of information gained regardless. Semphis, he's going to get that gift wrap too. Android just goes out walk. He's 8 now, has to effectively do the job of 2 or 3 people. And do that he shall with 2 frags. It could be a 3rd. Very close to landing it. Surreal now comes up with the M4. And it looks as though Complexity will take us to second overtime. We'll hold the phones for a second. Relics on 4 health is going to bounce back with a kill of his own. Uber from behind. And Complexity just about clutch it out. It hasn't been the best of Counter-Strike, but we are going into the second overtime nonetheless.
See, all they needed was an auto sniper.
Apparently so.
Wow. That was actually, I actually really liked that round from TSM. The grenade usage was so nice. They opened up Squeaky, they took control of that area, and then spaced it so that the hut molly would follow against the opposite vent molly, and then the flash coming out put Android in a position where he just needed to fall off. And I guess falling in front of Squeaky wasn't the best decision that he could have made, but it ended up making kind of a passage or opening up the round a little bit for TSM. So I thought that was quite cool and a little bit more refreshing to see some tactics, some more sophisticated tactics come out of this game, especially this late. Surprising.
I wonder what the call was there for Android to actually drop down like that, just in the middle of nothing.
Oh, he got mollied. Well, he got mollied on top of that.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so had to relocate. Fair play. Uber, in the meanwhile, going to go into ramp, throws a molly to make sure he doesn't get aggressed on afterwards. And a 1-for-1 trade is certainly decent for TSM. It now allows them to start to poke and probe the downstairs site, while the rest of the terrorists try and congregate around behind him.
Kind of a pretty good scenario. And here we see TSM, I think, being a little bit better with their grenades. And the spam in event is perfect. Good awareness from FNS to assume that somebody might be just behind that or just rotating in. And Def upstairs, however, this lurker is dying every single time. I mean, I think they need to wait a little bit longer, but at the same time, it has been some time. It's 3v3, or I guess 4v3 in that situation, and you just want to assume, oh my gosh, that somebody's going to come in for the rotate. 6 spots ahead of one player. Ape gets his head popped, and there's FNS to join in with another 2 kills. Really nice 3K on the run. They lit up a good T round overall, and that lurker keeps dying out of Squeaky.
It's happened over and over again, hasn't it? And it was the same thing on the role reversal. It was Uber that was typically playing that position, and he died a bunch on the T side. So it hasn't really yielded a great deal on both sides of the coin. But now TSM, who start off with a T round, which we've already discussed, is so important. Android not able to get more than 1 kill, and FNS, and it just seems like the hyper-aggression through onto the A side is just what the doctor ordered. Complexity are struggling to keep themselves afloat. 2 players outside of the site. The bomb is going to get planted now. I believe that's for the main side as well, as Sick goes in the headshot onto Uber. Complexity are going to have to retake both players on Heaven in smoke, and Surreal is low. This could very well be TSM taking charge of the map now.
This has got to be it. I mean, they've actually worked into the site now. It's actually 2v2. Both players spotted, but Relic's getting the better of our first man. Surreal is going to be very telling. Ape now in a very, very difficult situation. Looking for the first, and that's it. Relics finds both of them. TSM pick up a second T round in a row and move on to the last round of the half with Complexity on a budget, on a very tight budget. 2K per person. 2 mag 7s, 5 7s, and a CZ is all they can afford. A little bit of utility, which is nice, but that's about it. And you know, TSM can't. They know this. They have been here into OT before, and they know that there is no way Complexity have enough money to get anything going. And there's the first headshot. Very nice. Outside control, always very favorable. Long angles here to take advantage of. And the adjustment coming as Complexity pushing into Secret.
A sad statistic as well. This is the first time in round 37 that we had consecutive T rounds being picked up. 2 in a row. And it's taken this long. It looks like it could very well be a third now. Depth is going to make that Mag 7 work for this kill onto Desi. But the problem now is not necessarily the Mag 7, it's the 5-7 and the CZ that are having to fend off against multiple assailants. FNS is going to be on the prowl towards Secret, will get picked off by Depth, who's now picked up the AK-47 for himself. Relics is pretty low in the meanwhile on 10, moving in towards the A side of the map. 3-on-3.
Unclear what their adjustment will be, but there it is. Sick from far away, from downtown, taking out Depth, who eventually aggressed Secret after his 2 kills, very impactful ones. But maybe not so much if they aren't able to get anything going off of this. That's obviously a set smoke. I'm sure you went to an offline server and practiced that, but they were going to be retaking upper through that vent and that smoke through the guise of it, and it's not going to be working out too well. That's it. TSM seal it up in this half.
I mean, surely that's RIP now.
That's RIP. Yeah, I almost announced their victory, but I mean, it pretty much isn't in some senses. They have to just win one more CT round. There's not a betting man out there that would assume that this is going into another OT. For Complexity to win 3 T rounds on after winning 4 in total in the entire game, to win 3 in a row.
Yep. Especially as Complexity's T rounds have came off the back of, it's basically been duels normally around Secret that have yielded results for them, getting that opening pick. So our orders gonna have to come down to TSM making mistakes more than anything else. Relics has the AWP for himself, and it's gonna be on the ramp side again, typically where the AWPers have been playing on the TSM side. And Complexity gonna be taking a leaf out of the book of TSM, and that's an aggressive A take. FNS is going to come back in though, and he's going to lock himself down 2 frags. That could be good enough. He's forced out into the openness. The molly is burning his toes. 2-on-2 now. And it's TSM. Now going to be dragged back down to a 1-on-1. And it's going to be Uber landing the headshot and keeping Complexity in this just about with 3 kills. And by the way, he was by far the bottom fragger in regulation. I think he was on 13 for 23. So he has stepped things up significantly in overtime.
Wow, maybe a worrying thought that he's actually gotten warmed up. And I'd hate to have to eat my words at this moment, but you're just expecting TSM to be able to seal it. It did come down to 1v1. I like the change of tempo from Complexity bust out upper in a situation where also TSM were being quite sparse with their quick takes, because I think if you think of TSM, you think, wow, they might do something scrimmy here, they might do something fast, but they didn't do that for a long time. They were very disciplined, and then peppered one in at the right moment, and it ended up working out very well. And here, I think our bread or butter mode. We did this lower thing in regulation. It worked super well. Let's do it right now. We need this. We need this round.
Well, there's no more room for error for Complexity. It's do or die, sink or swim. And they are looking to take the initiative through Secret. Thing is, again, though, they've got a player to the left-hand side on the decon stairs who has taken a pot shot and then decides to back away. There's no use in him dying. Even a 1-for-1 trade wouldn't be good enough for TSM in this situation. So instead, pull yourself back, allow the rest of the CTs to move their way in. Semphis has gone down into vents. He has, however, ended up being picked off as a result. And now Ape and Androids, both downstairs, are going to try and salvage this for Complexity.
Ooh, Def gets taken down as FNS. I just think checks it just because. I mean, just in case. And you'd be right about that. Lurks have not gone so successfully overall. And there's a second kill after staying alive. So all of those ones that we tally up are going to be hard to think about after maybe losing. And that's it. Sick with a couple of kills himself. Ends the game, 31 frags. Everybody really stepping up towards the end. And TSM just sealing that up. Complexity blowing a huge lead in regulation.